Mrs. White here, and we're going to start Chapter 3 with Section 3.1, Lines and Angles. We have 3 vocabulary words right now: parallel lines, skew lines, and parallel planes. So take a moment to go ahead and copy these down. Parallel lines you've probably heard of before. I do want to underline a key word. It says 2 lines that are coplanar, so let's remember what coplanar means from Chapter 1. And when we talked about coplanar, we talked about lines that are on the same plane. Okay, and obviously this knot is very important because there are 2 lines that are on the same plane that do not intersect. Now, skew lines you've probably never heard of before. It's a very similar definition to parallel lines. But let's take a look about the difference. It says skew lines are 2 lines that are not coplanar and do not intersect. So this little key word, not, in the definition distinguishes the difference between these 2 words. So skew lines do not intersect, but they're not going to be coplanar. They're not on the same plane. Okay? And lastly, parallel planes. Very similar to parallel lines, but now we have 2 planes that do not intersect. Okay, so we're going to go, make sure you get this jotted down. We're going to do a couple examples. All right, but first let's talk about how to mark if something is parallel or perpendicular. Okay, these are 2 key terms throughout the chapter, and especially next section that we're going to talk about with parallel. If you see these little arrows right there on the lines, that indicates that these 2 lines, A and F, are parallel. Also down here, if you notice these 2 backslashes here, it says line A, that determines or says that the word line A is parallel to line F. So those are 2 different markings or symbols that you can see for parallel. Perpendicular, when you see something perpendicular, remember that little box in the corner means that it is a 90-degree angle and that they're perpendicular. Also, the upside down T indicates the word perpendicular. So it says line M is perpendicular to line S. So make sure you know these markings. All right, so take a second to pause it and draw this cube and copy down each question. We're going to talk about these 3 questions with this diagram. So the first one says, name a line parallel to CD. So let's go ahead and trace out the line CD, but it also has to contain point A. So remember, parallel has to be coplanar. So they have to be on the same plane, plus it has to contain point A. So if you realize that this line up here, AB, contains point A, okay, and it's also coplanar because it's on the top of the box. So AB is the answer to the first question. Number 2 says, name a line skew to CD. So let's go ahead and find CD again, but it also has to contain point A. So remember, skew means not coplanar, so it can't be AB again, but if you take a look, AG is not on that same plane, so that is one answer choice you could have. There's a second one that contains point A. That is the line AH. Okay? So these 2 are acceptable answers for a line that is skewed to CD. Last question talks about parallel planes, and it says name a plane parallel to EFG. So let's first figure out plane EFG contains those 3 points, and it's the bottom of this box right here, okay, that also contains point H. So the plane that is parallel and contains point A is the top of the box. So remember, with notation, pick any 3 points and write the word plane in front of it, and I'll just say plane A, B, C. Okay? This next one, I would like you to try on your own, pause it, and then we'll come back and check the answers. All right, here are the answers for this example. So go ahead, check over, make sure that you've gotten these answers, and if you have any questions, maybe you wrote one down, please see me tomorrow in class and we can discuss if it's right or wrong or why not. All right, the most important part of this lesson is this section of definitions and this diagram here. We're talking about angles and transversals, and we'll be using this diagram next section, and it's probably, you're going to see it over and over again. So go ahead and draw out that diagram. It is 3 lines, I'm sorry, lines A, B, and C. Okay, and then there are 8 angles that are listed up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So go ahead and draw that out. And what we're going to do is We're going to go through each name, definition, and example of either the line or the angle. So the first part is transversal. Okay, it is a line that is up there. It's one of the lines, A, B, C, or D. I'm sorry, A, B, or C. And here's the definition. So looking at the definition, a line that intersects two or more coplanar lines at different points. So the line that is the transversal here is line C. Line C intersects A and B. Now, the next several example vocabulary words here are very important. Okay? Corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior, consecutive, or we say same side or same side exterior, and you can also see consecutive exterior. Okay, within these words, I'm actually going to start from the bottom going up because corresponding is just slightly different. All the rest of these ones here kind of tell you where the angle will be located. But as you see, they have the words interior and exterior. So that when you see interior and exterior, that's in relationship to lines A and B, lines that are not the transversal. So angles that are interior, let's go ahead and list. It means that they're in between these two lines, A and B. So the ones that are interior are angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, and angle 6. Okay? So that leaves us with the exterior ones, the ones that are on the outside of the two lines. So exterior angles would be angle 1, angle 2, angle 7, and angle 8. Okay? So when we look at, let's say, alternate interior angles, okay, this one right here, we're only going to be using angles that are on the interior. So they're going to be pairs, okay? 3, 4, 5, or 6. So we're not going to use any of those exterior ones. Now, the alternating part, when we talk about alternating, it's in respect to the transversal, okay, that I just highlighted. So alternating means it has to be from one side to the other. Now, another key part of the definitions, I'm going to circle the cluster of angles, okay, that are on lines A and lines B. So each one of these angle pairs have to come one from each line, okay? So let's take a look at alternate interior angles. Here's the correct definition. It's two angles that lie between, so that's the interior, and are on opposite sides of the transversal, okay? So let's name one pair. So angle 4, okay, listed up here. And it has to be alternating, so on the other side, but it has to come from the other set from line A, so angle 6. That's a pair of alternate interior, 4 and 6. There are a second pair of alternate interior. If you take a look, let's look at 3. Okay, that's still interior, and angle 3 and angle 5 are alternate interior angles. All right? Let's move on to alternate exterior. It's the same idea as that they're now on the exterior and the outside of the two lines, and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So let's take a look. Angle 1 has an alternate exterior pair to angle 8. They're on opposite sides of the transversal, and they're on the exterior. The other pair would be angle 2 and angle 7. Okay? And so when we look at this here, angle 2, angle 7 in the red, they're on opposite sides of the green line, and they're both on the outside. All right, so let's take a look at our consecutive interior angles or same side interior. So we're dealing with the inside, so 3, 4, 5, and 6. But now looking at the green line, the transversal, they have to be on the same side. Okay, that's what the consecutive part means. So if we start with angle 4, same side of the transversal, but on line A would be angle 5. Okay, so angle 4 and angle 5, I'm just taking a look here. They're on the same side of the green, but they're both interior. There's a second pair. Okay, so angle 3 is same side interior with angle 6. Okay? And same side exterior is the same idea, except for now we're on the outside of the two lines. Okay? So angle 1 is same side exterior to angle 7. And then lastly, angle 2 is alternate same side exterior is angle 8. Okay, so those deal with the consecutive, alternates, interior, exterior. But now going back up to corresponding, corresponding is slightly different because it doesn't give you any of those key words. Okay, so let's take a look at the definition first. Two angles that are in corresponding positions. So pretty much what I tell you guys is to think, okay, if we had the set here and the set here, if I'm looking at angle 1, it's whatever one, if I would slide down those 1, 2, 3, and 4, and whatever would fall on top. So if I would slide this down, okay, angle 1 would actually match and be corresponding to angle 5. They're both in the upper left part of this circle, okay? Upper left, so they're corresponding. So you will have 4 corresponding angles. Angle 1, angle 5, okay, is one set, one pair. If we move over to 2 and, oops, let's see if I can get that little circle to move, there we go. 2 matches with 6, okay, that's another pair, angle 2, angle 6. Okay, let's slide it down to the bottom right, and then this will be slid down to the bottom right, so that is angle 3 and angle 8. And then the last pair is the bottom left of the circle, which makes it angle 4 and angle 7. Okay, so you need to know all these angle pairs, and we'll go ahead and give you guys time right now to practice one on your own. So go ahead, jot this down. It says identify all of the pairs. So make sure you're looking at the numbering, corresponding, alternate exterior, alternate interior, and consecutive interior. So take a moment, pause, and do this on your own. All right, so here are the answers and the solutions. So make sure that you've gotten all these correct. And if you have questions with any of these, just let me know tomorrow. Last one is the same idea, except for now I threw in a 4th line. The last diagram only had 3, so it's the same concept, all right? But let's go ahead and do one together. Each one of these, like angle B and angle H, we'll start with together. So what I always tell you guys to do is just circle wherever they're at. So once you see that, I tell you to just ignore the other parts because we're not even looking at those other 2 clusters of angle pairs. So now we're just back at that same diagram we were just at. Okay, always ask yourself the question. Let's look at the 2 lines here. Are they interior or exterior of these 2 lines? They are interior. Okay, let's take a look at that transversal. This transversal here, are they on the same side or alternating? Well, these are alternating. So the letters BH are alternate interior angles. Okay, so you can label that up there. So what I would like you guys to do right now is pause it and see if you can match all the rest of the angle pairs with the given name. All right, so let's take a look. CK, those are corresponding angles, same spot, different line. BF are also corresponding angles. MJ is consecutive interior angles. CE gives us alternate interior angles. CH is consecutive interior. MH is consecutive interior. AI is corresponding. Okay. BL is, let's take a look, alternate exterior angles. PF is also alternate exterior angles. OK is corresponding angles. And lastly, DI is consecutive interior. Oops. All right, so one other thing with this diagram that I want you to notice, we never did a pair that went diagonal like that. They aren't angle pairs, okay? So AM, if I asked you what that is, that's not an angle pair. You can only go up and down, left or right, so make sure you know that. All right, this concludes section 3.1. Make sure you know and identify all the angle pairs because now we're going to be using them in our next section.